It gives me great pleasure to introduce Professor Raymond Parsons, and in fact, the presentation from Professor Parsons and the one just before the break from Professor Evans are complementary. They both deal with the macroeconomic and fiscal climate in South Africa. Now you will hear what impact does the Southern African economic climate have on tax-related matters, and it kind of builds on, in many ways, the previous presentation. Professor Raymond Parsons is a professor at the Northwest University Business School. Until 2012, he was a deputy CEO of BUSA and subsequently a special policy advisor to that organization until April of this year. He has also lectured at the Department of Economic and Management Sciences at University of Pretoria. Professor Parsons was the overall business convener at the National Economic Development and Labor Council, better known as Nedlac, I believe, until 2010, which is a major social dialogue institution in South Africa. He is a key contributor to public and academic debate on a broad spectrum of issues of critical importance to the political economy of South Africa. He is what we kindly refer to as a public intellectual, a bridge between academia and public policy. He studied economics at the Universities of Cape Town, Oxford, and Copenhagen before playing a leading role in organized business in South Africa for many years. He is a former Director General of the South Africa Chamber of Business, SACOB. From 2000 to 2003, he was visiting professor at the School of Economic and Business Science at the University, at WITS, shorter, sorry. He also holds an honorary doctorate from the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University, NMMU, and is an honorary professor there. He is a government appointee to the Council of the NMMU. Professor Parsons is a past president of the Economic Society of South Africa, ESSA. In 2004, former President Mbeki appointed Professor Parsons to the board of directors of the South Africa Reserve Bank and was reappointed in 2008. He is also director of the South African Mint. He is the author of 5 books. They're listed in your binder. The last one, perhaps one of the more recent, Zoomonomics. Revisited. Well, there was Zoomonomics, which way to share prosperity in South Africa, and then Zoomonomics Revisited, or the sequel, the road from Mangaung to 2030. The floor is yours. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jay, for that introduction. I must also thank Professor Evans for having read the Sunday Times so assiduously and having apparently drawn some kind of inspiration from it. I'm an economist, so as an economist, when we look at the issues of tax, we look at it from a macro point of view. I'm not a tax expert, but I look at taxation policy, at fiscal policy from the point of view of the national economy. And it is in that context that I have modified my title. I'm not going to talk about Southern Africa. I'm bringing it a lot closer home, which I think follows very much on the earlier papers and presentations which we saw today. And that is our National Development Plan. Now, there was a change in the sequence of the papers, but in a way it's worked out well, because firstly, some of the points I'm going to make will resonate with certain of the fundamentals that were presented earlier. And I think when you have a five-day conference, you need to be reminded early on of what some of the fundamentals are, lest you forget them by the time you get to the 5th day. And secondly, in a way, what we're engaged upon here is a sort of relay race. You hand on the baton from one